past my time here in the Imus program talking to the radio commercials that are recorded. Yeah, well, which could be a product of my age, or, I mean, it could be, these could be the warning signs that I've completely lost it, except I was doing this when I was 25, so
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what that means. Anyway, on a far more serious note, please welcome to the Imus program, Harry Houck, retired New York City Police Detective. How are you?
Very good, Imus, and you look very good.
Thanks. I do?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So what did you do for the police department?
I was a detective in the 9th Squad in the Lower East Side, East Village.
Okay, homicide or?
Everything.
Oh.
We did everything. When you're in a squad, you pretty much do everything.
When were you, when did you retire?
In 2001, just before 9/11.
Okay. Were you down around the Astor Place area or any of that?
Yeah,
Oh, you were?
that's the 9th precinct.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Because I witnessed a murder there.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah, and in fact, I was, unfortunately, I lived at one Astor Place. I lived on the top floor.
Okay, yeah.
And I'd been up 3 or 4 days, I was doing cocaine, and so I had an apartment full of cocaine.
Okay.
And unfortunately, and drinking vodka and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was looking out the window, and 2 guys came running off of Broadway and ran around on Astor Place.
Right.
Stopped in front of the building, and one guy shot the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like an idiot, I called the police.
Oh, that was a good thing, Imus.
Yeah.
What year was that? Long time ago. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me think, don't press me.
Yeah.
It had to be 80, 81.
Oh, okay.
Because I stopped doing drugs in, can't remember, I stopped doing drugs in 84, I guess. Was it?
That was the bad old days down in the
83,
East Village.
Yeah, well, so anyway, so then what do you do now?
I do security consulting. I have my own company, Houck Consulting,
Mm-hmm.
and I do counterterrorism work.
Okay. So tell me what you think about the bombings in Boston.
Well, you know, I'm sort of leaning now to a small group, you know, a terrorist cell.
Why?
Basically because of the pattern of the explosions that occurred. We had the first explosion, and then 13 or 20 seconds later we had the second explosion,
Mm-hmm.
all right, which is typical of an Al-Qaeda type pattern. Now, whether or not these people are connected to Al-Qaeda is another story. That might just be sympathetic, or it could be a simple lone bomber.
Yeah.
But I think there's too many bombs involved. You know, I think there was something like another 3 or 4 that were found after these two bombs exploded. So I think there's too many bombs for it just to be one person involved.
It's odd that nobody saw anything, isn't it? Or do we don't know
Well, as
that?
far as we know, I mean, there's a possibility. You know, you got to remember, you've got thousands of people out there. They're watching the finish line.
Sure.
All right, so they're waiting for their family members or loved ones to come over the finish line. They're not looking at anything else. So somebody could have, you know, come behind them, dropped a bag, you know, and, you know, detonated a bomb later on.
Almost the best ammunition that we have in this country against these kinds of events is the phrase, if you see something, say something.
Exactly.
So somebody had to have seen something. I understand they're all looking at the race, but somebody's always looking around. So the FBI obviously wouldn't announce that now, nor should they. But.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I wouldn't either. I mean, you don't want to compromise the integrity of the case. You know, we don't want anybody to know the information we have out right now. In case there's other co-conspirators, right, you know, involved, and they're sitting there watching the television, they're going to want to know what's going on. Maybe it's time to get out of Dodge now.
From what you know about it, the bombs themselves, they appear to be sophisticated, not sophisticated, crude, what?
Well, they seem to be low-tech. They seem to be a low-tech bomb. I was speaking to a couple of bomb experts earlier about this, and it seems to be a low-tech bomb, probably not a high explosive used, although I could be wrong, but a lot of people said they smelled what smelled like firecrackers. So they might have used some type of gunpowder. All right, so the bomb didn't seem to be as powerful as you would think it was. Because if you're watching the video of the people running, all right, you can see where the bomb exploded, but people on the street weren't really affected by the bomb. And they were only about 20 feet away from the bomb. So there's a good chance that that bomb had a shaped charge in it. And when it's got a shaped charge, what they can do is they can direct the blast in a certain direction, and maybe it was heading in the wrong direction. I don't know, I'm only speculating.
Seemed to be some suggestion too that because it was packed with either BBs or ball bearings,
Right.
that would suggest that it was more sophisticated than perhaps a horribly crude bomb, but that may not be the case, right?
Right, yeah, it may not be the case. You know, you can make a pipe bomb with match heads.
Sure.
All right, and you can dip it in BBs and glue them on, and you've got yourself an explosive device.
How do you think it was detonated?
Well, you know, a lot of people are talking basically about the cell phone detonation.
Hmm.
All right, and as I'm sitting watching the video, there's not too many people crossing the finish line. So if there's somebody who's sitting there watching this and ready to detonate the bomb, why didn't they wait till more people were closer to the finish line? You know, so, I mean, of course it is possible. Like I said, I'm only speculating here, but, you know, it could have been a timing device because it was around 4 hours after the race had started,
Sure.
which was supposed to be the key time for most people coming over I guess most people run it in 4 hours or a little bit more.
Well, I don't know.
I know I can't.
Yeah. Well, it appeared more spectators were injured than runners, though.
Right, because exactly, because the bomb was on the side of the spectators. They were on the other side of the barrier. So it looks like the people that were injured were virtually almost on top of the bomb.
Are you surprised, well, I mentioned this before, though, that nobody's, I mean, we don't know if somebody saw something and said something.
Well, somebody
to the
was
FBI.
tackled by civilians.
Oh, there was?
Right. Apparently, a report I heard earlier, that some civilians tackled a suspect, or somebody who they thought was a suspect. You know, and the FBI executed a search warrant early this morning on an apartment somewhere outside of Boston. Whether or not they're related to the bombing or anything like that, you know, they're not releasing any
Do you have any
information.
information on that, Tom?
Well, the apartment that was searched was that, now, according to Fox News, citing a law enforcement source, of the 20-year-old Saudi national that was being questioned at the hospital. But this source has told Fox that they haven't found anything connecting him to the incident or raising any concerns. But you're right, they did search that apartment, but so far, at least from what we're being told, didn't find anything suspicious in the apartment.
13 till the hour here in the Imus morning program, talking with Harry Houck, a retired New York City police detective. Are you surprised that no one's claimed responsibility for this?
Yes, I am. I don't know what to think of that.
Oh.
You know, if probably if Al Qaeda was somehow involved, you know, internationally, they would have said something already.
No.
But who knows? You know, they might be waiting or waiting to make their escape. If there's co-conspirators out there, maybe waiting to make their escape out of the country, and then you know, make a statement.
Is the best advice for all of us that if we see something, is one to pay attention.
Right.
And if we see something, say something.
Yeah, you know, people are worried about calling in a false alarm.
No.
Don't worry about that. You know, police officers are used to that every day. You know, when I was a cop on patrol, we got false alarms all night.
Sure.
You know, so they're used to that. If you see something, say something. Don't worry about a false alarm. The police will respond. That's why they're there. They're used to that.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Harry Houck here in the Imus morning program. It's 12 minutes down till the hour.